Hello and welcome to the 5 Minute Film Club. Last year I made a video celebrating the 40th anniversary of the release of Friday the 13th. And so, given the date today, I thought I would take a look at its sequel, released in 1981, Friday the 13th Part 2. When Friday the 13th came out, it hit big, and the studio behind the release, Paramount, immediately wanted more. In fact, it was just a mere couple of days before Frank Mancuso Sr. had meetings with Friday director Sean S. Cunningham about getting a sequel out next year. As I said in my video last year, Sean S. Cunningham made Friday the 13th as a way of breaking into the industry. He just needed a title that would make money. But once that had kind of happened, he was like, okay, I'm done, I want to move on to other things. The only way that he could conceivably think of Friday the 13th becoming an annual event was to create an anthology series, much like they originally decided to do with Halloween in Halloween 3. But Frank Mancuso probably sensibly said, no, I think people just want to get back to Camp Crystal Lake and maybe let's see what Jason can do. Well, Sean S. Cunningham thought that making Jason the main antagonist of the Friday films would be absolutely ridiculous. I mean, he was just a child. That end of the film of Friday the 13th was a dream sequence anyway. He's said subsequently that he's glad that he got that very, very wrong. With Cunningham and original writer Victor Miller out of the picture, it fell to the alumni of the series to find a director. And so producer of Friday the 13th, Steve Miner, was promoted to directing duties. His idea was that he just needed to recapture the setting and setup of the first film, while adding in more kills. The film's prologue takes place 2 months after the events of the first film, with the only survivor living in her apartment. However, she is being stalked by an unseen killer. This opening prologue section is brilliant. I really enjoy it. But I watched The Bird with the Crystal Plumage for the first time this year, and this is just a straight rip from that film. Absolutely terrifying film. If you want a good Giallo experience, your first Giallo experience, go and watch The Bird with the Crystal Plumage by Dario Argento. I'm sure you all have, and I'm very late to the game. But still, I really enjoy this opening. It's such a shame that Alice kind of gets the chop here and we don't see her anymore in the series. There's varying stories about why she didn't want to come back. One of them was because a fan got over obsessed with her, and another one is in fact that she asked for too much money and they said nope, these are cheap films to make and that's the way we like to keep them. We then skip 5 years into the future, so that means that Friday the 13th Part 2 takes place in 1985. It's a good job to keep a marker in the years of these films because they're so ridiculous how quickly they jump into the future when actually they're recurring every single year. Paul Holt is setting up a new summer camp with a whole load of new counsellors in need of training, but of course they're just more interested in each other. On the first night that they're there, they are gathered around the campfire and Paul tells them the legend of Jason Voorhees, who after witnessing his mother's murder lives in the woods near Camp Crystal Lake, killing anyone who strays onto his patch. But of course, he says that that's not true. That is just a legend. Obviously, Jason is around, and he soon starts dispatching everyone in sight in increasingly creative ways, until we are just left with the classic final girl, Ginny, to face off against the masked monster. I really enjoy Friday the 13th Part 2 for numerous reasons. I think it's better than Friday the 13th. The first thing they get right is the casting of Amy Steele as Ginny Field. I love Ginny Field's character. She is so believable as a teenager and amazingly resilient and independent and resourceful. It's the biggest shame to me that this is all we get of Ginny in the series, as I think she could have gone on to become a character equal to the status that Laurie Strode has in Halloween or Nancy Thompson has in A Nightmare on Elm Street. Secondly, I love the reality of Jason. Besides the fact that the timeline doesn't really add up, Jason at this stage is so alive. He runs about and chases after his victims in a way that is so different from Michael Myers. He isn't yet this lumbering Hulk, but a frenetic and scary creature. Miner also has a great introduction to Jason, with him just darting across the road in front of the police car. And then we discover his shack in the woods. It's really atmospheric and creepy, and the look of Jason as this kind of hillbilly with a sack on his head with just one eye hole cut out. It is fantastic. And then everything just builds until we finally get a really good look at him at the climax. Finally, I think this film has a really great cast of characters. The teenagers are really likeable. I don't get annoyed with any of them. They're a great diverse cast, and the way that they're dispatched is incredibly, I've said, creative. And I think it's a testament to the series that, Friday the 13th Part 2 does a really good job of setting up the blueprint, actually, of how the rest of the series would and should go on. I look forward to returning to Camp Crystal Lake next Friday the 13th with Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D, released in 1982. But until then, I'll say thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.